In this video, we're going to learn how to resize images in Photoshop Elements. This works similar in all versions of Photoshop Elements. I happen to be working in Photoshop Elements 9. I have here some cow photos, and I'm actually only going to resize one of them. And I'm going to open up Photoshop Elements. And I'm going to take one of the photos and just drag it over here from my folder to open it up. Next, I'm going to click the File drop-down menu and then Save for Web. This is the best way to get the best quality images for saving images that you're going to be uploading to galleries on the internet. It's going to come up with this error message telling you that the photo is so large you may experience problems. I've never had problems. Unless you have a very, very slow computer, you're not going to be having problems. Just click yes and it opens up this editor. Now I'm going to scoot this over just a little bit. You won't be able to see quite all of it. But this is your beginning image and this is your resized image. Now I'm going to choose JPEG and I'm going to highlight this longest side. If your image was oriented the other direction, maybe the height would be the higher number, but I want my longest side to be no more than 600 pixels. So I'm just going to type 600 pixels in there, and you're going to see, because this is locked over here, it kept the proportions the same because this check mark is checked here, and so it automatically created the height for me. I'm going to click apply and it reprocesses it. And over here, if you observe, your original image down here was 603 kilobytes, and over here it's only 46.4 kilobytes, and it takes 17 seconds to download on an average computer speed. If this is too big, still yet, various galleries have different specifications. You can lower the quality a little bit. I mean, I'm taking this all the way down to 39, and you can't see, sometimes I can, but in this particular case I can't see very much difference, and I've got it all the way down to 26.56K. But I usually leave it up around 60 unless there's some reason why I need to make that size even smaller. And that's it. You click OK and it will finish by asking you where you want to save that, and I'm going to save it to my desktop. I'm going to minimize this, and here's my new image on the desktop. Usually when I save it, I rename it and put a web at the end of it. You can do that in the save process. When you hit save over here, you can see how quickly this is. It's just you cannot do these by batch. When you click OK here, I would generally put web, rename it, and then click save, and it would have a web. This one has web 2 now beyond it, and now it's ready to upload to the internet. Resizing in Photoshop, the full version of Photoshop, is very similar to Photoshop Elements, and I have my photo already brought into Photoshop, and I'm going to click on Save for Web and Devices. It's going to come up with this error message saying it's too large and I may get memory errors, but go ahead and click yes to bring up this Save for Web pop-up box. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think I can make it small enough to fit on the screen which I'm recording. And right now you can see it's very, very large, and there are I'm in CS4, I believe. There are some tabs up at the top. I generally stay in the 2 up tab because it's very similar to the Photoshop Elements, which I am familiar with. But if you don't see these two, the before and the after, look for those tabs. Then, just as I did in Photoshop Elements, I'm going to go down to the image size and find my larger side, and in this case it's the lower one, and I'm going to put 600 pixels in there. And now this is a little tricky part for me in the full version as opposed to Photoshop Elements. It doesn't easily put this into action. I have to usually click on one of the other fields to get it to work, or I hit the enter key to get that to work. Now you can see the original size was 703K, and the one that's going to be saving is 73.71K. I'm going to make sure it's on JPEG. If I want to make it even smaller, I can reduce the quality, and now you can see it's 52.53K. So you can move the slider to get it a little bit smaller. And this is also a little confusing. If you click done, it doesn't finish out. You need to click the save button and then choose where you want to put it on your computer. And that's how you save that's how you resize in the full version of Photoshop. To batch resize in Bridge, you are actually running a script in the full version of Photoshop. And I have here my folder of photos that I'm resizing, and just as I've done before, I'm going to hit Control A on my keyboard to select them all and go to the Tools drop-down menu, then Photoshop, and you'd think you would do batch as a batch process, but that has other actions in that processing. For this particular one, you're going to use an image processor, and then the full version of Photoshop opens up the image processor, and you can see that you have 6 photos which you've selected in Bridge ready to process. But you can also get to this straight from Photoshop. If you go to the File drop-down menu, Scripts and Image Processor, you're going to see it comes up, but in the first step you have no photos selected, and so I can select my photos by navigating to the folder that I want them to be in, or the folder that I want to run, and click OK. Step 2 is to select the folder where I want the processed images to come out, and I want them to come out on my desktop, but I'm going to make a new folder called New just for this sake, and I'm going to select OK. Now when you begin, this is set at 0, but you would want to change that to the 600 pixels because we're doing the save for JPEG. Down here is PSD and TIFF, and we're not using those, so we're not going to check those. The quality comes up a default of 5, but I changed it to 6, which is sort of equal to that 60% when we were doing the save for web. And I don't want to run any actions. These are those actions that are available when you do the batch processing. And then I'm going to click Run, and it's going to open up each of the images, resave it, and close it back out. And there's only 6, so this will be done quickly. Kind of fun to watch it just work like somebody else is on your computer. And then on my desktop, here's that folder that I made new, and we're going to open it up, and let's get that hover to come up. There you see this one's 400 by 600 and this one's 600 by 400, and now they're ready to upload to the gallery. Windows Live Photo Gallery makes a great free software for Windows users to rename and resize photos, especially doing it in a batch process. I have here on my desktop just a copy of some cow photos that I've taken. And if you start Windows Live Photo Gallery, you're going to see those photos here in my folder after I've navigated to it in the tree over here. And to resize, you can resize one at a time by just clicking down on a photo, and you'll see the check mark is in the box, and now this one is highlighted in blue, whereas the others are not. So this is the one that's active that the process is going to work on. If I wanted to do more than one, I could hold down my Control key and click on the next one. Now you're going to see that both of these are in blue, and both of them have a check mark in the box when you hover over the photo. If I wanted to select them all, I could just hit Control A rather than clicking on all of them. So if you have 50 photos in this folder and you want to resize them all, just hit Control A, and now you're going to see they're all selected or active. To batch resize them, click on the Edit menu, and then you're going to see Resize. Click on Resize and you have some options. They give you 640, 800, 1024, and 1280. But you can also make it custom size to whatever size you want. So I'm going to tell it I want a 600. And so whatever the longest side is, if you have a rectangular image, whatever the longest size is going to be no larger than 600 pixels. Now by default it tells you that to save them, because it's going, when you click, it's going to put a new file somewhere on your computer, and it's going to by default put it in the same folder that your original photos are in. But if you want to put it in a different folder, you can click Browse and choose a different folder, and then just merely select Resize and Save, and you see it begins working. Now you can see that it has brought them in right in here to the Windows Live Photo Gallery resized. That's because they actually are in this folder. And you can see they're renamed 400 by 600. So they put the actual size that they were renamed to in this folder. If you want to batch rename everything, you can click. Right now I would be batch renaming these 6 because I have them highlighted. You can just click rename after you've highlighted what you want, and then over here type cow or whatever you want to rename them all as, and those 6 are now renamed. If you come in here, you're going to see they're renamed. So that is how you can resize images for uploading to galleries on the internet in Windows Live Photo Gallery. It does an okay job. The Adobe products, of course, do the best, but for a free program, you can see the quality of the image is actually pretty good when I open it up here. And on to the next one, and we'll begin reviewing it. Picasa is a free program from Google, and I understand that Google is going to be renaming Picasa Google Photos, but I don't know if they're going to be renaming the program as well, but it may be changing in the near future. To resize in Picasa, you can navigate to and find your image and click on it to select it. If you will note, there is a blue box around the photo that is selected. Now if I want to batch resize, I can select more than one photo by holding down the Control key and then clicking on all of them so they are selected. You can see they also show up down here as selected. Under the File drop-down menu, click Export Picture to Folder, and name of exported folder, and you can browse if you want to put them in a different location, but you can go ahead and change the size here. If you want to change the quality, you have some options here. For instance, minimum is going to change it to the smallest file size, but you're going to have a bit of quality loss also. And then you just simply click Export, and I'm actually going to export it to my desktop. You click X, and then I'm going to rename this here to see what happens. You click Export, and a little bar comes up on the side, exporting to folder, and when I'm done, it has created a brand new folder on my desktop. It opened this up automatically, but let me close this out so you can see. It created here's my original folder, created a brand new folder on my desktop with these photos, and you can see it kept them as the same name, but if you hover over them, you're going to see now the dimension of this one is 600 by 400, and this one is 400 by 600, etc. Another free program that I could recommend for resizing is the FastStone Image Viewer. And if you just go to faststone.org, you will see they have 4 different free programs here. The one that I'm utilizing is the FastStone Image Viewer. And if you click on the download, you can download the zip file, unzip it, and easily install this program. Over here in the tree, you have to navigate to your desktop, and I have 2 folders on my desktop. One that I'm going to resize to that I created, I just called it New, and this one with the cow photos that we have been working with. And you can select one photo to resize it, or you can batch resize in here. I'm going to select Control A to select all of the photos, so now they all have a blue border around them. And under Tools, there is a Batch Convert Selected Images, and you're going to see that the ones you have selected, those ones with that blue border, are on the left side, and they're also automatically on the right side. Now if there's one of them you decide you don't want to include, you can click on it and click remove, and it will take it away from this area over here. If there's one that's not over here that you want to add, you can select it over here and click add, and it will move it back over here. So the ones that are being converted are on this side here, and you can choose the JPEG, which is the default format, or another format if you want to convert it to a different format. You can choose browse and then navigate to where you want the output photos to go. I would suggest a new album that you have created, a new folder that you have created. And then you can open advanced options, and in here pixels is the default, and it starts out with 0 in here, so you can put that 600 in the width and the height, and choose to switch width and height to match longest sides. That is helpful if you've got some vertical or horizontal position photos. Retain the aspect ratio, and you have a bunch of other options up here. There's a lot that this free program can do, but right now we're just resizing, and so I'm going to click OK. And if you want, you can also choose to rename them, but I'm not going to go into that. You can play with that, and then just click convert, and it runs its process. And you can see it's done, so we're going to say done. And if I go back out to my desktop where this folder was that was previously empty and open it up, there are my new photos. And if you hover over them, you're going to see this one's 400 by 600, and this one here is 600 by 400, so they have been batch resized and they are ready to upload to the gallery.